Hello everyone, how you doing? You're very welcome to this inclusion and mixed ability rugby from Buccaneers Rugby Club with myself, Aidan Raftery, and of course the show is as always kindly sponsored by Best Drive here in Roscommon Town. And as you know, Buccaneers Rugby Club in Athlone. Last in June they had a tournament for inclusion and also mixed ability, and it went very well. And from that, they decided to set up an inclusion tag rugby team, and of course, mixed ability rugby team as well. And so to tell us about her involvement, we have Hilda Duignan, who is from a very good organisation. And can you tell us a bit about yourself and a bit about the organisation there?
Hi, Aidan. Thanks for having me on. So my name is Hilda Duignan, and I'm the co-founder, along with Claire Early, of the Infinity Friends Autism Social Club for children aged between 3 and up to 18 at the moment. And we currently operate in Athlone, but we have families coming to us from kind of all over the Midlands, really. The club runs on Sunday mornings for the children aged between sort of 3 and 12, 11, 12. And then our teenagers meet on a Tuesday evening. And we're currently based out of the Monksland Community Centre on the Old Tuam Road in Athlone, in Monksland there. We are up and running now about 12 months. We started with 10 families meeting on a Sunday morning for an hour, just to have a space where both the children and the parents could be themselves in an environment which was completely set up for us and for our children in a safe way. And we currently support 50 families. Our fourth extra clubs opened January of this year. And we have a waiting list. We're just hoping to expand and extend so that we can reach more families. We're currently affiliated with Youth Work Midlands, and we basically meet every Sunday. We either have just a very relaxed session within the community centre where the children can do, whatever they like, be it tabletop games, kind of OT exercises, just play, be themselves. Mums and dads, parents, grandparents, guardians can have a cup of tea and a chat. Or likewise, we might go for activities such as the bowling alley, soft play centre. Eddie Rockets is a favourite amongst our teenagers for somewhere to eat. Yeah. And the cinema. So yeah, and that's kind of what we're at the moment. So all the children involved with the club have a diagnosis of autism, and we support them as best we can and offer peer support to the parents and guardians as well.
And I suppose you know it is a vital service that you provide, and it's a vital group, because I suppose when parents and the kids and teenagers are at home, it is full on and it's very busy. But in this environment that you provide in the centre, it allows parents to socialize with other parents and other kids, and it ensures that I suppose other kids can make friends with other kids of the same in the same situation. And that's kind of good to have that sort of a unification, that people can talk to each other about their own lives and their own situations, and kind of help each other out. And I suppose with your help as well, that's very good as well.
Yeah, well, I suppose the way we look at it, Aidan, is we're all in different boats in the same storm. So yeah, everybody's strengths and weaknesses and abilities and difficulties are different. But when we come together, we don't have to explain that to anybody. We don't have to, remove ourselves from situations.
Everyone's equal.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not kind of explaining the hand flapping, the potential, strange behaviours or whatever it is that the public might view it as. And everybody just is free to be themselves. And the parents, you can almost hear the collective sigh when they walk through the door, where it's like, we can remove our masks as well, and we don't have to kind of put on this thing of everything is wonderful, everything's great. because some days it's not. And that's not just for parents of children with additional support needs. That's for all parents. But I think when it comes to, sort of the collective autism community, we all have very similar struggles. And we celebrate each other's triumphs as well. The smallest thing for some people are absolutely huge in our world. And our children don't often have the opportunity to belong to, mainstream groups, such as, going to GAA training, going to soccer training, going to, being part of a team, having a club that they can really feel an important part of. And that's basically where that has come from for us.
That's it. And of course, I suppose where it came from me as well, I told you on a phone call earlier on, I was lucky enough to be physio with Buccaneers in a mixed ability tournament there in June, and it was a wet day, a miserable day weather-wise, but it was lovely to see people of all abilities and that everyone there was equal, and it was full contact sport, but people kind of knew, you can go in in a certain way or you can't go in, so everyone felt involved. And I think, for me being involved and seeing all the games, and, everyone was brilliant. The club did a great job on it. Everyone got medals and things like that. And, from that, there was a lot of skills that that everyone could learn. People with autism, people with various disabilities and abilities could come together in a safe environment, knowing that they'd be looked after, and learning skills, learn to be part of a team, all these essential things that you learn from sport and learn from rugby, but you can also bring them into your own life as well, into the work they can bring into their working life or whatever they're doing at home and they're in their own personal lives or work experience. And that is the key to, in fairness to Buccaneers Rugby Club, they really took it from that, and they've set up a mixed ability team for adults, and I think an under 19 and an under 15 team, but also an inclusion tag rugby team as well for various underage teams as well of mixed abilities and all that. And I think that's where you came in. You were in there on that. You were in there recently, and you really enjoyed it.
Yes, absolutely. So we were so delighted when we were invited to take part in a training session just this past Sunday. And we were blessed because we just missed the big downpour of rain when we were there on Sunday morning. So basically the junior groups, so the children aged between 7 and 10 and up to sort of 13, were all invited to take part in a training session on Sunday morning. And they all arrived, all sort of familiar with each other, and the parents familiar with each other. And for us as parents of children with additional support needs, and in my case, I have 2 autistic children, you don't get to bring them to these things too often. So it's such a wonderful opportunity. And it's so, like, I guess I've got 2 children who I take it for granted. I just drop them up to GAA, or a friend takes them with them to swimming lessons or whatever it is. And, it's so easy, and we just take it so for granted. But there are very many parents who don't have that opportunity at all to go along and be, taking their child to be part of a team. And that's so important. I mean, we all want to belong and we all have a place. It's just people out there helping us to find our place. And Niall was absolutely amazing on the day, very understanding of all of the children, of the fears of the parents, of the mixed ability of the children. Some have never thrown a ball in their lives, and some absolutely love doing so. So it was just absolutely wonderful to be part of it. And some of the children who would be really enthusiastic about it have decided that they're going to sign up on a weekly basis for a training session with the Buccaneers Rugby Club. They're so excited, and their parents are so excited. These are parents who thought their children would never find something that they could be part of. So we're very grateful.
Yeah, and of course with this in Mixed ability is something that was set up by, Mixed Ability Ireland, and they do various sports. But, like on the day, I suppose, when you were there and you see the facilities, you see the coaches, you meet the coaches, my involvement with the club and me knowing Niall and been there on the day, as I said, in June. It's brilliant, the quality of the coaching and the skills that they learn through the training, through matches. And like when they come home, like I said, it's part of a team, because I suppose when the kids come home, they're part of a team, as in their family. But it's this is another level of being part of a team, isn't it? Like when they're making friends for life as well,
Yeah.
which is good. It kind of boosts their morale, and it gives them something to look forward to every week as well, something different and something extra.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, the skills that they're learning are not just rugby skills. They're learning social skills. They're learning, to wait and take their turn. They're learning, just skills that other children maybe take for granted. That things may not always be structured. It's very difficult sometimes for children who are autistic to, diversify from their routine. So to be on a rugby pitch or a soccer pitch or a GAA pitch where you don't really know what's going to happen, that can really help them with understanding that in life, you don't always know what's going to happen. So, that's a huge skill that can be learned just by playing a sport. Like, people don't consider those things. Something I wouldn't have considered, that, you're on the pitch and you don't know what direction the ball is going. And life is very similar to that. You don't know what direction you're going to go. You could wake up in the morning to devastating news, or, you could win the lotto or whatever it is. And you could, your life can change in an instant.
Yeah.
And the outcome of a game on a pitch can change in an instant. But the other thing that you learn from that is that the team that you have behind you are there to get you through that. They're there to support you through that. And same in life, that the people around you are there to support you and get you through that. So it's, it really is so important. Team sports are just so underrated in terms of the development of children, and in particular with children with additional support needs who don't get the same opportunities. And oftentimes in school, children who might be in special classes or special schools are sort of, segregated from the mainstream population of their school. So they're not learning those skills from their peers. And, we firmly believe that children bring on other children, and, we learn what we see and we learn from our peers. And if you're segregated all the time from that, you can't be expected then to function in society in any real way. And it increases feelings of isolation, loneliness, depression. I mean, depression amongst the autistic community is just off the charts in terms of numbers, and into sort of, teens and adults, anxiety, depression. It's huge amongst the autistic community. And so team sports like this go a very long way to supporting a person's mental, physical and emotional well-being.
And of course, like you, yourself and Claire's founded Infinity Friends, autistic group as well. And so you're looking at it from that point of view. But as you just said there at the start, you're also a parent of two. You and your husband are parents of two autistic children. So I mean, that must have driven it home even more for you as a parent. Not alone that's the other side, but also as a parent, which is another side of it. To see that the kids were enjoying themselves, they were safe, good coaching, very understanding people. But they are now part of a team, but they're also part of a club. So they are not alone by like will they be going to matches when there starts to be matches, and going to different parts of the Connacht or whatever. Not only will they be doing that, but they can also go to games for that Buccaneers are playing in, as in their first team and second team, and the under-20s are going as well. So, and there's always social events on in Buccaneers as well. So you're part of that greater community as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And for the parents, like it's so, again, having a child with additional needs is a very isolating experience as a parent, because yes, parenting is hard full stop. But, double that, triple that, times 100 for a parent of a child with additional needs, because while we don't know what the future is for any of our children, we're fairly sure of certain things in life when it comes to our children who are typically developing. We expect that they'll go to school and maybe onto third level and onto employment, relationships, families of their own. It doesn't always go that way, but we can safely expect a lot of those things. With our children with additional needs, we really don't know what the future holds. And so that's a very isolating experience. And oftentimes, if there are issues in terms of your child struggles in situations that are loud, noisy, bright, busy, you tend to stay home. You tend to isolate yourself for the sake of your child. You're picking your battles as such. And then you're not getting that opportunity yourself to develop relationships. And then, that would be very, very isolating. I have two older children. All my children are under 10. I have 4 children, and the first 2 would be typically developing children. And because of those 2 children, I would have most of my circle of friends, most of my social circle has come from my children through their school, through their clubs, through their different activities and the environments I'm in with them. If I didn't have that experience, I don't know would I have the same circle with the 2 children with additional support needs that I have. So I guess that's a huge thing. So us having club on a Sunday, meeting those parents, a lot of those parents haven't met other parents all week. They're going into work maybe, or most of them, I suppose one has to stay home to become the full-time carer. I know I had to give up my job to become a full-time carer for my children. I'm back doing a little bit part-time since they're back at school now. And that in itself has been amazing. But if you've had to give up your job, give up your social life, even going out as a couple is very difficult, because there's so few people out there who can take care of your child in the way that they need to be taken care of, and that your child will even stay with, because again, they're not exposed to a great group of people. They don't see very many people other than mum, dad, and potentially maybe teachers and SNAs. So having those clubs, and outside of Infinity Friends, to have Buccaneers, to be going to matches, to support other teams, to be involved in training sessions, and it broadens everyone's horizons, and it is so good for the whole community, the town, the country. Inclusion really has to happen everywhere. And it's just wonderful when you see a club like Buccaneers taking that initiative on board and just running with it and seeing the benefits. So much so that they ran with their inclusive clubs and inclusive teams.
And of course, with the mechanics of this as well, for it to be successful, and it's great to see how successful and well run it is now, and it's only the early stages, so you can imagine where it can go from here. But I suppose for it to be really successful, it's great to see the kids having fun and they buy into it. But it's also essential to have obviously the coaches are really enthusiastic, they're really giving it all. But what's key to this as well is that the parents are loving it, and they're really giving the support behind it as well, and supporting their own kids, but also other kids, and supporting each other, and parents supporting their kids, and that whole dynamic is what really binds it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose what I have often found is online forums where parents are talking, and I suppose talking about the lack of activities, the lack of places we can take our children, the lack of inclusion in the community. And then when an opportunity comes up, like the Buccaneers have put on Sunday, like other clubs have put on, in terms of an inclusive day or inclusive classes, which might be run weekly or etc., they're often very poorly supported. And I have a couple of theories on that. And I think the biggest thing for me is that parents have a fear that even though they're in their heart of hearts, they're wishing for these opportunities, they're afraid to go because they don't know what to expect. So what I would say to any parent who is looking at this and thinking, God, I would really love my little boy or my little girl to get involved in that, just go. It's like any child. I have brought my children to activities who are, are typically developing children that they haven't enjoyed. And so we don't go back. So, but we've tried it. So I would say commit to it, go to it, give them the chance, do 2-3 sessions. Like obviously if the child has, a really difficult time when they're there the first time, that's not going to encourage anybody to go back. But if you can coax them, they don't have to stay for a full session. Try 15 minutes this week, try 20 minutes next week. Build it up, give it a chance. If parents don't support these initiatives by clubs and by, even individuals, dance classes, little children's activities, anything at all, they're not going to continue, because at the end of the day, people are doing their best, but they still have to run a business. They still have to put in their time. And if it's only 3 or 4 and it's the same 3 or 4 showing up week on week, it really isn't. It's going to defeat the purpose as well, because you're not getting the numbers that you need in order to make it successful in terms of inclusion, integration, socialization, all of those things. So I know that the reason that a lot of parents avoid these things is fear. Yeah. But as a parent myself, you have to push your children and yourself out of your comfort zone. We've been so, keeping ourselves so guarded, keeping them at home, avoiding the meltdowns, avoiding the upset and the stress. But you know what? If you go, give it a go, and whatever happens, you can always scoop them up and go home again if it's not working, or, you really might surprise yourself.
That's it. And I suppose really the key to any sport, both for any child, is, at an early age, is fun. And I mean, you were there on Sunday morning. I know Niall is a good friend of mine. He really does a lot for rugby at all levels and all different types of rugby, be it normal rugby, tag rugby, rugby, all those kind of things. And he really does a lot, in the community for it. But I think from you being there, on Sunday morning, both him and any of the other coaches were there. They really do make it fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
With that in mind, I suppose anyone that goes there for the first time, once they go there, even if they're nervous, once they get involved, start talking to a few kids, and then it's fun, then they're more likely to come back. That's just kind of coming on from the point that you just made there a minute ago. If once it's fun, kids will keep coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you could see the smiles on their faces, if you could see just, some of them got, anxious. We're watching from the car at first to see what was going to happen, because they didn't know what to expect. And again, that's a huge thing for an autistic person, that they really do like to know what's coming next and what to anticipate, what to expect. And when they don't, it causes quite a lot of anxiety. So we did have children who maybe observed from the car first, and then maybe stepped out of the car, stood on the sideline, and then got the first grab of a ball and took off. And it really was such a joy, and there was no pressure on them. They were able to go at their own pace, in their own time. If you have a child that you bring and they stand on the sidelines for the first 6 weeks, just so they can know what to expect the first time they step out onto a pitch, that is worth it to me. Yeah. And I know life is busy and time is precious, but you don't get this opportunity with your children very often, and we get very few with our children in particular. So grab it with both hands, I would say, as a parent. And
of course, sport is always a great way. As I always say, look, when I was playing and now doing as a physio and working with different teams, it really unites people. I mean, people from different areas, different religions, different backgrounds. Once people get on the pitch and play football, play rugby, it's just it unites everyone. Even it even surpasses the language barrier. It's all about working together, and that's the great thing. And everyone watches each other's back as well, which is good, because anything can happen on any given day. So I suppose from one point, as regards the organisation Infinity Friends for autism group, social group. If someone wants to go along, or if someone wants to become part of the group, how do they go about it?
Okay, so currently our clubs are operating at full capacity. We do try and limit numbers in each of the groups to, avoid an overcrowding situation. But we are taking names and numbers for our waiting lists. Our big dream, our big plan going forward is to have our very own dedicated premises, which we can operate from 7 days a week if we need to. So currently, as I say, we operate out of Monkstown Community Centre, which has been a fantastic facility for us to start with. But again, we're limited to only being able to work out of there on a Sunday morning and a Tuesday evening. So going forward, our own dedicated premises would allow us to add clubs every day, to maybe, even introduce parent support hubs, other services to use the facility in terms of speech and language, OT, lots of big plans. But for now, we are taking lists. We are taking names for our waiting list. And I can send you, Aidan, maybe that you can link to this video, the contact details for Claire Early. Claire is really the driving force behind Infinity Friends, and she, if she could, she'd have 100 clubs up and running. We sometimes have to rein her in, but she's absolutely amazing, and we have an amazing committee of mums who are involved every day in every aspect of running the club. So I'll send you the details, Aidan, and you can link maybe to this video, Claire's contact details, and our email, and parents can contact us through those channels there, and actually can follow us as well on our Facebook, our Instagram page. The Facebook page is just for members' parents, but our Instagram at Infinity Friends Autism Heroes Without Limits is our Instagram page. So again, I'll send you the links to those, and you can pop them up maybe for us as well, which would be great.
I can do that. That's no problem. And maybe like you were just saying, some of your members as well, some of the kids will be are going to be joining up. So what we might do is, on another occasion, maybe down the road, whenever you feel it's appropriate or whatever, it'd be nice to maybe do an interview and see how they're getting on with the club, and that they're enjoying it, and how they're enjoying their involvement and things like that, and how they're developing and enjoying it.
Absolutely, it'll be a pleasure.
No problem. Listen, thanks very much, Hilda, for doing the interview with us, and we'll look forward to talking to you again very soon.
Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to chatting again soon, Aidan.
No problem. Thanks very much. And that's Hilda Duignan from Infinity Friends Autism Group in Monkstown and Athlone. Yeah.